Okay, I think the audio is better this time. And we're gonna test it again. All this drama. 1, 2, 1, 2, let's go live. This is why you need a desktop instead of a laptop, just sometimes power issues. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, and let's see how the audio is. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, and let's see how the audio is. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Shout out in the chat if it feels like the audio's not very good. So shout out whoever subscribed, because the video I did 2 days ago wasn't worth subscribing to. And here's the live stream. Okay, and what's the code saying? Let's get it running. And we also need to see the engine itself. I'll bring that up for you. Is it already there? Yeah, it's already there. Okay, this is the game engine. This is kind of the game engine. And we want to get animation working. Welcome all, feel free to interact and subscribe so I can get 500 subs and create memberships. Can't do a spelling, a typo in the chat, sub. There we go. Okay, let's have a quick tour for the 50th time. I need some wine. I'm just going to jump in and check my audio still. Okay, let's have a quick tour for the 50th time. Okay, I think it's okay. Last thing I did was in Israel when I was with a friend, and I think it was the clouds, and also trying to import animations. It was some wolf animation maybe. Was it on the desktop? Where was it? So right now you can't see, but I'm just looking through some wolf FBX, some Blender files. Okay, I've just imported something apparently. And we can't see it unless let's see where it is. So I'm looking for a wolf model. A wolf animation file. If I put that on there, do you still get it? Kind of. So I've just loaded an image file. Ah, there it is. Okay, you're gonna laugh. This here. So what I did in the code was when I import a file, a model, I tell it to go to a random location. Because when I was creating the different light sources and everything was just loaded in the same place, you couldn't see shadows, you couldn't see different levels of shade. So this is a broken wolf object file because it's trying to find the bones and the structure, but at least it's still functioning. I'm not going to say working, it's still opening. So this is going to be a refresher on, for me, on the code base and animation. Let's tell everybody what we're doing. Animation session. Where are we going to put that? Okay, go messer. Position key. Can't code without your watch. What have we got? So we have a structure with a double and an AI vector 3D. An AI vector 3D. Position at this keyframe. It's just a vector. It's just a vector. 3D, three-dimensional vector. Yeah, an X, Y, and Z basically. A rotation key. Doubles as well. A scaling key. Scale rotate. So then presumably each bone will have one of all of those. And the bone name. That's a bone animation. So what we'll do, what I need to do is take this to ChatGPT, maybe Grok, see how much it lets me type. Break down this code for me. And 1 second. You get the idea. Break down this code for me. Assess it because we have errors when importing and drawing, rendering the FBX file, and talk through what the code does. Feel free to rewrite if it's bad. This code defines a foundational structure for animation using keyframes and skeleton-based skinning. It is designed to handle FBX animations by interpolating transformations. So that's just moving between one frame and another. It's generating what's in between. It does that by interpolating the time. So at 1 second and at 3 seconds, there'll be a different. So if it's a wolf walking, it's a start position and its end position, and it will draw the frames in between. It will move each leg a certain amount based on a frame or a given amount of time. Okay, we have the structures. Should I make this bigger? Yeah. Stores keyframes for positions, rotation, and scale. Where's my code? Hey, thank you, J Sinks. Shout out. Yeah, it's the first time I've streamed in 2 months. Well, I was on yesterday, just kind of trying to get set up again, and trying to break the back of it, get back into it. I got stuck on animation, but I was also in a interesting country, so it weren't really the time to code. Okay, strengths of the code: structured approach, real-time capability, weaknesses: error handling, incomplete functionality. I don't think that's accurate. Maybe a year on and off, maybe 50% of that time. So maybe it's 6 months work. But also, I don't really know what I'm doing, or at least I didn't. Everything I'm doing is always fresh and new for me. So I'm learning as well. And I've come to see that learning animation live on stream is just not good. This code doesn't demonstrate how I loaded. Okay, what I would do here is I think I need to go into the animation controller CPP file. Excuse me, I don't know if you can see that. Which will be here. So there's the actual file. There we go. What about you? Are you working on something? Okay, what do we have here? AI vector. Oh, an operator. Yeah, mine just doesn't work at all. Don't get me wrong, I could just come off stream and maybe 4 hours or a day and it'll be okay, but I choose to do it the difficult way. Okay, what we got here, another. I ain't looked at code for 2 months. I'm defining the function. Checker function is node name valid. Okay. returns a boolean. Node coming in. If there's data and if the length is greater than 0, okay, makes sense. So presumably that's used here, yes. No, this is all just my professional hobby. Yeah, this is all just a channel. How about yourself? Okay, so I'm going to give myself a tutorial here. Okay. Here's the CPP file for that previous header. Talk me through the main code and see if it's broken. Nice. Bone transformation updates, animation. Yeah, well, it's just a hobby. I've took a bit of time out of work anyway, so it's just I could maybe transition into something. And I figured let's learn 3D engines. I was doing a game in 2D with SFML, and I got quite committed and quite, what word do I want to say? I was quite involved basically, quite committed to it. But then I realized if I'm going to spend so much time doing it, I need to learn 3D really. And sometimes you just get stuck on an area and then you have timeouts and stuff. But that's why I ended up on 3D. I was doing, my first project was 2D, SFML, C++, and I started to do an MMO, as everybody does. I wrote a little bit of a server, and they had NPCs and characters you could connect, like 20 clients, and walk around my city. I drew my city on Photoshop in 2D sprites. And then I thought, this is, I mean, no one was buying it, but I thought this is kind of okay. Let's look at 3D. It's good for the brain as well. And even socially, the chat was sometimes pretty good. Like, get a few hundred people on. And I only ever live stream, like, it's not, I don't really do tutorials. Maybe if I get a lot of viewers, then it's worth the investment. This function is the backbone of your animation system. It recursively updates bone transformation. Okay, where's the code at? Okay, so I'm sending a node. When do I call this thing? Update bone transformation. It's going to be main. That's your recursion. Model loader. I think this might be a render function. Yeah. Model loader. Have you seen the engine yet? Or I guess you looked at a minute ago on the other videos. What are you working on yourself? Here's my favourite cottage. Get the lights in the scene, get the lights moving. I think they're too bright. Is that the brightness? It's funny because the water's here, but the water only reflects the terrain. It doesn't know the house exists. And then these lights only interact with the models and not the terrain. So it's two different shaders. So you can see the lights interacting with the house, but not this. I think the sun interacts with everything. Yeah, as it should. So I started to, yeah, everything's been changed red or purple, even the clouds. Wait a minute, is that my user interface reflecting on the water? Oh god. I don't think that's a permanent bug. I think that's, yeah, just when I refreshed it. It shows you everything's just an image. That was wild. I've seen that before. I don't know why it's doing that. But there's only going to be a few reasons why. I mean, that's a nice little scene. Once you find as well, it's all about detail. If you look on any good game, the land is never great, but you get your grass on, you get your shrubs on, and trees, something moving. You're running through the path, bit of sound. Things change quite quickly. These textures can all be swapped just by loading here. I don't remember the names. But anyway. It'd be nice if I could keep that engine on screen and the code. Let's have a look. Maybe down there somewhere. There we go. Okay, ChatGPT, what we're saying. Okay, I need to go to the rendering. I can disappear a minute and go here. Let's go to the rendering code. I can hit pause as well. Sweet. Okay, and where is this render function called? God, it's got ugly. Render. Something that takes a shader program and a delta. A float. It's not that one, but it is in main. It's not that one, it's not that one. Yeah, that's going to be it. A time and a shader number. So for every model, we're calling render. So why wouldn't you have a comment there? For every model within model new vector, we call render. Excuse me. I'm passing the shader and the current time. The current time. Okay. So there's a switch to render or not. Makes sense. Okay. There's a function that just shows the different materials for the model, and we can live hot swap those, so you can change the transparency of glass and the reflectiveness of metals. It works mostly. Actually, I can probably show that on the engine. Where is it? It was here, this thing. So what would we change? Where's the house gone? So this is telling us there's 3 parts of the house. So the plane, the cube, and then I guess the roof maybe. And then, let's see. Yeah, okay, so the reflective properties. Transparency. Okay, material editor. Let's pause that again. That's a bad place to pause it, isn't it? Material editor. So strangely, we're using... We're not using this anyway, I don't think. Oh no, we are. No. Because that's just an int, whereas this is implying an object. Let's have a look. Shader program dot. Okay, this. So that's just the variable that's passed, but this is something more. Let's access that, and that should have an ID here. So that's not, maybe not used, at least not just yet. So that's an example of me changing how the code worked maybe. But there's no harm. Sometimes it's good to pass some data and it's there if you want to access it. Okay, so what are we passing? The sun brightness. So for every model we have, it needs to know the sun brightness. So with some uniform, so it's going to the shaders, the diffuse, the time. Okay, what are these buttons? Okay, there's some user interface. More uniforms, the time of day, and so on. The projection and view matrices. So a placeholder texture. So some of our models don't have textures, but we kind of force into draw with textures, so we just create a blank texture where necessary with this function here. We just fill it. That current enemy. Okay, so what's this? Model new vector. So we are looping for the model new vector. Let's have a look. Model new. What's inside a model new? So a full model loaded in async. Mesh is animated. Where is that used? Okay, so when we load something, we say if there's more than 0 animations, then yeah, as animation. We could have just used that really. Rookie. What else have we got? Let's shut that. Okay, so we're looping through everything. We're creating a float. So a number with a decimal like 5.6, that's a float. Called animation time. And then where does total time exist? So we're resetting that. Okay, so static. Delta global time, excuse me. I guess that must be some... Okay, yeah, it's an external float. The problem seems to be that that time's not changing. Delta global time is not changing. So I'm going to guess that's not the issue, but kind of could be. Right? Because if the time of the world is not moving forward, it's not going to animate. But the last I looked at this code, there was something responsible for moving the time forward. Total time. Animation time equals total time. Let's just see where. But what I did was I put a little thing you could drag and change the time. So we can force it to change. Wolf.fbx maybe. Okay, so there's the wolf. Yeah, this was the time here. Possible data corruption. I wonder what that is. Let me just give this some light. So this is a deformed animation, basically. That's what we're looking at. A broken animation. And looks like a jawbone. Yeah. It's beat up, right? If I pause it, and let's put this back down here. So now, can I see what's in total time? So it is changing. And then the time of the scene gets passed here. So then we have a time. The first scene. And this should be the variable that starts to interpolate. Recursively. This is the error message I have on the console that you can't see. So what brings that up? If node of children is greater than 0. It's just, I think the max number was 5. I'm just going to change that. Okay. That looks different. No, I don't. No, it's slightly different. There's two of the wolf files, so I'm just going to try the second one. Because I don't know which one was the proper one. And then maybe from here I will even just create my own animation. Okay, this seems cleaner, and it's loaded textures as well this time. So maybe that's the one. You can see it's painted. But yeah, that's doing nothing. I think we're just getting errors. Unexpected number of children. So if I lower this. Unexpected. Is it number of children? Do I get that as well? Child node is full. Let's see if I ever get, let's see if we ever hit this. Let's see if we ever hit this. Maybe the issue is the shaders as well. 'Cause I'm not sure how this update bone transform. I'm not sure how it then translates and multiplies and then exists in a new state in the to be rendered and in the shader. But presumably animation new. No, this is a I think that's just a declaration for the CPP from the header. Maybe this is what it is. Create a new bone transforms. A map. This might have some interesting information. Wow. So you won't see this, but it has the different body parts in a map. The wolf skeleton. It's actually in a foreign language. It's back, maybe. Different nodes. So if there's some data we recursively call this function, do we ever get an empty node? We'll never know. Excuse me. Okay, I'll go 15 more minutes to call it an hour. Let's work out. break down this function and the renderer associated. Which is here. Okay, handles the computation of bone transformations, manages rendering, updating uniforms, materials and models. Finds animation data for the node. Find bone animation. That was a missing link. So that's find bone. Where is that code then? Here, update. So node name, we get it from here. Burn animation. Okay, it's pretty simple. I just need to understand what a node is. I think in the context. Let's ask ChatGPT. In this context, explain what a node is. Is it a bone? A node refers to an element in the hierarchical structure of a 3D model, typically representing a transformation within a scene or skeleton. Whether the node corresponds to a bone depends on a specific purpose of the node. Yeah, I need to go back to the basics on this. Maybe the first node might just be the linker to all the bones, and not necessarily a bone that all the other bones hang on to. A node can be a bone, but not all nodes are bones. Would the root node almost never be a bone then? The root node generally serves as the top level container for the entire scene. Its purpose is to provide a global transformation and act as the parent for all other nodes, including bones, meshes and auxiliary structures. Here's why. The root node often represents a global transformation of them. Okay. The root node is the parent of every other node in the scene. This includes non-bone nodes. This will be helpful if this is new to you. So your root node, your core bit of data, like the umbrella is everything else. And then the mesh might be the roof of the house or an arm for a person. And then that has all the subsequent bones. So what I would do is pull up some skeletal animation. Skeletal animation, free C++, OpenGL. Oh, it's your boy.
So we're starting to take a look at skeletal animation and how to implement it in OpenGL. Skeletal animation or skinning.
Okay, so you want to be
is
googling
considered a
skeletal
standard way
animation,
of animating
and I'll leave it with you
almost
guys.
any
Good
living
night.
creature, and it can also be used to animate